Good morning, everyone. I'm Steve Falk, CEO of Sonoma Media Investments and the Press Democrat. And we are here live at the Sonoma County Fairgrounds this morning in Santa Rosa, where we just completed the 8th annual Press Democrat North Coast Wine Competition tasting. The judges just left, and we are excited to be here to tell you the results live on Facebook with this year's winners. But before I do that, we could not have a Sonoma wine growers and our favorite Redwood Credit Union. So thank you to the sponsors. We have an exciting announcement to make here this morning about the winners. This is best of the best. I'm now going to turn it over to the architect of this competition, our head judge who worked with me 8 years ago to design this competition and to make it one of the best competitions in the country. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Daryl Groom, our head judge. And Daryl, tell us a little bit about the competition.
Yeah, Steve, so firstly, as Steve just said, this is the very first time we've actually released the results straight after the competition, and we try to keep our judges really quiet in previous years. So this is pretty exciting for us to hold the competition under our strict health guidelines. We had to change a lot of what we'd done in the past, and it was really great to see everybody adhering to that. In fact, we had 30% less judges, 30% less staff in the room, but making sure that everybody was safe and that we could have the competition. One of the things that I pride myself on this competition, firstly, it's the wines that we get, the incredible wines, but it's also the great judges that we have. We had 24 judges from diverse backgrounds within the wine industry. We religiously on each panel have at least one winemaker and a som, a buyer, or a media person, so that we can make sure that we look at the wines from all facets to make sure that the quality and the style of the wine that's there is appreciated. If we had 3 winemakers on a panel, they may all go for one style, but having the diversity of judges make sure that every wine is given equal opportunity. And talk about opportunity, so we had a couple of records this year within all the challenges. Firstly, it was our biggest competition ever, the most entries that we've had. But secondly, and all the judges in the room know it, and we all know it, that we are blessed by some of the most talented winemakers in the world who are passionate about making a huge range of varieties. Again, we only judge from wines on the North Coast, so the quality is really high. But we're also blessed by this diverse climate that we have from all the appellations through the 6 counties that we judge at. And I think that really showed up today, didn't
Sure
it?
Did.
With the results that we've got. In the past, I think the record amount of gold medals we've ever had is 28%. And this year we had 31.3% gold medals. And we
so how many gold medals does that make for this year?
Well, I do the math. It's around about 370 or something. I actually have it here with all of my paperwork. And again, we only just finished the competition, so I don't have everything that we possibly, that I can tell you, but I do have it. Well, it's in my pile. But anyway,
300 plus.
300 plus. And, we're pretty smart.
I can't wait to go shopping.
So, but the other great thing about the competition too was that we had 1,056 entries in the end, because some were ineligible from what we had because they weren't in the North Coast. But we had 96% of wines getting medals. So that was pretty good. So do we want to
let's talk to a couple judges.
You want to reveal some of the wines first? Let's talk to a couple of judges.
Yeah, let's talk to a judge.
Right. So the first judge we're going to bring over is one of our long-term judges, Mick Schroeder. Mick's the winemaker at Sonoma Catra, and he has one of the unique positions of he not only enters the wine competition, but we don't let him judge his own wines. We make sure of that. But he's been a judge for for 8 years since we've had the competition. So, you know, Mick, what makes you want to enter this competition?
A great question. There's something about local, I think, you know, and probably more so than ever before, just supporting local businesses and industries, and so that's one of the cool things about entering this competition. And also, we're a very, you know, close collective family in the wine business, so, you know, we're all a little bit competitive, you know, so kind of duking it out with other people and getting golds at the North Coast Wine Competition really kind of means something to us. And I think from the consumer standpoint too, it really gives the opportunity to showcase this incredible diversity, as you said, of the wine styles and what we're doing here in the North Coast, and, you know, for me specifically, here in Sonoma County. So I think your entries is also reflective of that too, that we're really starting to see a lot more wineries entering from the North Coast area.
Yep, so that's good, and I absolutely agree. So, and then the other question I was going to ask you is from the different perspective of being a judge. I know you extremely well, and you have you've made virtually every varietal there is in the New World, but when you're tasting wine, you're often doing it with just winemakers. But at this judging, you have to sit down with you had a master of wine on your panel, and you had one of the biggest wine buyers in the country from Bevmo at your. What's that like?
Yeah, it really is a great perspective to be judging with diversity of judges as well. It's really cool to be able to have their viewpoints because as winemakers we tend to look at things very differently, and we tend to be much more critical. We look for faults rather than all of the good things, where the buyers especially, they're looking from their consumer aspect, who's going to be buying, or if it's someone from a restaurant, how do these wines go with food? So we look at it in very different ways. We're all on the same page, so I had a really interesting visual yesterday. So I've got an MW, I've got a buyer from Bill Hayes from Bevmo, and we're judging Pinot Noirs yesterday morning, and we got two wines side by side, and they're both fantastic wines, both gold medals. And I'm reflecting back, and we're talking to the judges. The cool thing was the styles couldn't be more further apart. One Pinot, very light and elegant, very earthy. The other one, rich and full-bodied, more fruit-driven. Amazing to witness that.
I appreciate those comments, because that's exactly why we have the panels as they are like that, to give everyone a chance. So,
yeah.
Thanks, Mick. Thanks for what you do. We're going to bring on another one of your fellow judges.
All right, no worries.
Yep. We're going to bring on Debbie Secarius. Debbie's been one of our long-term judges here. If you don't know Debbie, you should, particularly if you do really well with wines, because Debbie's one of the most influential wine buyers in California. She owns Ferry Plaza Wine Merchants, Oxbow Market Wine, or I think it's called, and recently opened Mission Wine Food and Wine and Cheese.
Wine and Cheese,
And she also buys for the Chase Centre, and when that's up and operating, so pretty influential. Great for you to get your wines in front of this lady. So one of the questions I want to ask, particularly from the retail perspective, what does it mean to you and to wineries that do well in the competition?
It's, you know, I can judge a lot of competitions. I used to judge a lot of competitions, and I really kind of pared it down, because there's a number of wine competitions where a lot of the wines that are being entered are not very useful for me. And so when you're spending 2 or 3 days judging wine, you want to be able to get something out of it. And in a competition like this, there are a lot of producers that we work with in California that are on the, you know, the smaller side, and seeing the results is really awesome, because some of them are known entities for me. I mean, we love the Hendry Albarino, which I voted for through and through throughout this entire competition.
She gave away one of the wines that was in the sweepstakes. You're allowed to do that.
I thought you revealed them, no? I just revealed them.
But we will.
Okay.
It's coming.
All right. So anyway, that's one of them. But I think, and other times it's really eye-opening. You know, we can sit through, I taste wines almost every day, and one day a week we sit and we taste, you know, by appointment, 8 wines every 30 minutes. So, you know, we can taste 50 to 100 wines in a day, which is kind of what we do in this competition. And I feel like I get a lot more out of this. They're totally blind, and when we go through all of the results and I see sort of some newcomers that I don't know that I want to follow, which has happened over the years where I've pursued, like when Kokomo won one year, and I got in touch with the Pinot Noir producer and said, I have to have this wine. So, you know, there is a follow through, and, you know, some of the wineries that I have a preconceived notion about that might be like a little bit of a bigger winery that I may or may not pay attention to, and then I see them getting, you know, a number of awards across the board, and it really it helps me get much better perspective.
That's great, and that's exactly what we want to hear. Is to competition means something.
It does.
So I'm going to ask you the reverse question. You're used to taste, as what I asked Mick. You're used to tasting with a lot of buyers, and I think you look at wines from what's going to appeal to our consumers. But all of a sudden now you're sitting at a table for a day and a day and a half, and you've got a winemaker sitting in front of you that looks at it different. What's that like, judging with winemakers? And I know you do it a lot.
You know,
tell the truth.
being in the wine business is always it's continuing education. So, you know, I love every day that we open a bottle of wine, we learn from it, and working with a winemaker gives you another perspective. Since I never really studied winemaking, spending time with winemakers is super helpful, because I might pick up a flaw in a wine that I might call VA or, you know, Brett, and a winemaker will give me this strain of Brett, or, you know, or no, it's not VA, it's this. And so I think it's a really nice collaboration. I think having a winemaker at a panel actually makes things more balanced.
Yeah, good, and that's what we like to hear. So thanks, Debbie.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
And
It's
thanks
one
for
of my
championing the wines that.
One of my favorite competitions. So thank you for having me. Thank you.
You'll be back always, Boomerang Lady. Now we're going to bring on one of the most influential, or probably the most influential wine buyer in Sonoma County in the North Bay, Barry Herbst, who I think everyone does know or should know. Barry buys for Bottle Barn and buys a lot of wine, and is promotes a lot of the wines after this competition, and that's where nearly everybody goes to try and buy the wines. So, Barry, I'm going to ask you a similar question to what I asked Debbie. What do the results mean to you, and what does it mean to sales for that winery?
It's significant, yeah. The small guys, I think, in particular, benefit. You know, there's a lot of family-owned wineries that don't have marketing departments or salespeople, and it's the owner that's coming in, calling on me, and trying to get some traction with his wine. And if they score well in this competition, it just takes them up another level. You know, especially like a couple of years ago when Kokomo won. You know, there was people lined up at our door for that wine,
yeah.
And they were kind enough to give us like 5 cases, and it was gone in 15 minutes.
Well,
so
hopefully the guys this year will give you a little bit more.
Yeah. I'm already going to start lobbying now.
Yeah,
so.
you'll start getting phone calls this afternoon,
Exactly.
I think, now that we're doing it live. You know this is going to end up revealing some of them, but that doesn't matter. So were there any surprises from the Sweepstakes wines, or anything that you saw, or comfort levels, I suppose?
I was most impressed with kind of the non-mainstream grapes this year, like Albarino and Tannat and Tempranillo. I think they've really made tremendous strides in those categories. You know, normally it's Pinot, Sauvignon Blanc, Zen that are always standing out, but those categories really surprised me, and the small producers behind them doing a great job.
Yeah, so just we didn't mention that earlier. So in the Sweepstakes there were 29 wines.
Right.
16 of them were reds, and they're all different varieties. So, I mean, I won't read them all out, but there were diverse varieties, and it's great to see winemakers championing all of those varieties. So
Yeah,
thanks, Barry.
good
and,
stuff.
You can call on Bottle Barn, I think, within the next few days to get the winning wine.
Yeah, we'll stock up.
Now that we're
definitely.
letting everyone know. Okay,
Great.
thanks.
Good seeing you.
And lastly, we're going to the Master Quarter Sommeliers and whatever, but
In
probably
America, not England.
So Fred's come back to this competition every year to judge. So Fred, and I know from my relationship with Fred, he gets asked to taste everywhere. He gets asked to judge every wine competition, and you can't do a lot of them. I know you can't do them all. Everybody wants you, but you come back to this competition. You've been here 8 years, every year. What makes it special, and why do you come to?
Don't think I haven't forgiven you for sending me to Western Australia.
Did I not do that?
I'm going to be really Sydney, okay, but no. This competition, I think, is unique, and that's why I first of all, your reputation. You and I've known each other a long time. I have a lot of confidence in what you do. I think there's a couple of elements that make this competition unique. The first one is the way you curate the judges. This competition could get so big, like many of the others, and that's why I quit doing so many of them. But the quality of judges you have here is terrific. And usually I look around the room if I'm doing a major competition, I'm like, oh, well, I hope I don't get this, hope I don't get this. Here, I really don't care, because I know it's going to be great. Yeah. So super high quality judges, that's important. And what's amazing to me is the submissions. You know, usually the first rounds of an opening of a major competition, it's, you know, no award, out. You spend 30-40% of your time making wines go away that probably didn't belong in the competition to begin with. I think during this whole time of tasting over the last couple of days, I think I gave two eliminations. Yeah. And so the quality of the wines here is spectacular. The judging is very, very professional. And as a result, I think when we see all the beautiful wines on the table, what comes out is what truly belongs to be there. I mean, what actually should be there in the end. And that's an important thing to say about any wine competition.
Yep, that's good. And I think you answered my second question with what did you think about the quality of the wines? Because I was watching Fred and his panel yesterday, as he had a wine buyer and a winemaker on his panel. But every time I went over there, it was like this huge look of excitement of, wow, you've got to taste this, you've got to taste this. Can we put 2 Cabernets from our flight up because we can't choose because they're so really good? So
it was spectacular. The Cabernet section this year was, it was incredible. Yeah. We kept looking at the results, and I said, I don't think in my entire career I have ever awarded this many gold medals and double gold medals as I did through that set of Cabernets, which is a great credit, I think, to the competition, but also to the quality of winemaking.
And
we have
that's
here in
exactly
California.
right. So thank you to all the winemakers that are listening that make the competition important and keep giving the really great wines to make us get top judges in the world to come back and judge the competition. Thanks, Fred.
My pleasure.
Really appreciate
My pleasure.
It.
Thanks very much.
Steve, you want to come back on and you want to reveal some of the wines?
We don't need the mic, do we?
I talk loud because I'm being talked through the mask for the last...
Hey, Daryl, I've had a dozen texts from people saying, would you get on with the winners?
That's my reputation.
We're driving people crazy here. So
all right, so if I tell the wines and you want to grab them, how we want to do this. So we have the best sparkling wine. We ended up with 2 sparkling wines. There was a real close judge off, and it was very close, but the winning sparkling wine was Domaine Chandon.
There we go.
So the Domaine Chandon Method Traditionnel Reserve Pinot Noir, it's a sparkling rosé, and that wine was awarded 98 points.
98, wow.
The best white wine was a judge off between 6 wines and eventually got down to a really close judge off between a Sauvignon Blanc and a Chardonnay. The other wines in the judge off were a Riesling, a Viognier, an Albarino and a Pinot Grigio. And in the end, the Chardonnay ended up pipping out the Sauvignon Blanc by 2 votes. And the winning Chardonnay is the San Giacomo 2018 Sonoma Coast. San Giacomo, no stranger to world-class Chardonnay. We then went on, we had 2 rosés in the judge-off for the sweepstakes. We had a varietal rosé, which is Pinot Noir, and we had a rosé blend. It was really close judging again, but the varietal rosé ended up winning. And this is a wine that has won the best rosé before, previous years in the competition. Always does well, is the Rodney Strong 2019 Russian River Valley Pinot Noir Rosé. The other wine was the Navarro, which was a blend, which was really close. We had the biggest category were the red wines. Red wines represent about 65% of the wines we get in the competition. We had 16 of them, and it eventually got down, after we did the voting, it got down to 2 wines, a Bordeaux and a Pinot Noir. And in the end, the Pinot Noir just pipped out the Bordeaux. Papa Pietro, clone 777, vintage is 2017, and it got a 99 points. By the way, the Chardonnay, I didn't say, had 99 points, and the Rosé had 98 points.
This is great. Congratulations, Ben and Bruce.
Yes, always do well. The dessert category, we had 3 wines in the dessert category, a late harvest Zinfandel, a late harvest Chardonnay, and a late harvest Gewürztraminer. And the Gewürztraminer in the end was the favourite, and it is from Navarro, and it is their Gewürztraminer from Anderson Valley, 2019. Navarro, no stranger to world-class, fantastic sweet wines, and they also excel at their dry Riesling and dry Gewürz and Pinot Noir, and they just do it really well. A winery that I absolutely love. So then we had to go on to the best of the best that I'll reveal in a minute, but before that we had to choose the best Mendocino, which happened to be the Navarro. We also had to choose a best Sonoma County, which happened to be the San Giacomo Chardonnay. We also had to then judge off for the best Napa, which ended up being a Cabernet from Oak Knoll District, a $100 Cabernet that got 99 points, from a producer that I'm not familiar with, but I will be now, and it is Okapi, O-K-A-P-I. And I just talked to Chelsea Barrett, daughter of Heidi Barrett, who was one of our judges, and she said they are fantastic with their Cabernet. We also had a Lake County wine that wasn't in the sweepstakes, that's the best of Lake County, and it was a boutique, it's called Boutique Rosé of Pinot Noir that got 94 points. I don't have that bottle here because it wasn't in our sweepstakes and we've only just finished the sweepstakes. So then the big one that we all been waiting for is we then had to judge off the 5 best of categories to have a best of the best. And Steve,
Do we have a drum roll? Let's do it.
Yeah. So anyway, you want to...
No, wait, this is the best of the best.
The best of the best. Now, a little bit
Out of how many wines?
We ended up with the eligibles out that weren't North Coast. We ended up having, I think it was 1,059 entries in the end. So...
San Giacomo North Coast Chardonnay 2018 has won the 8th annual Press Democrat North Coast Wine Challenge, the best wine out of over 1,000 wines this year. San Giacomo is a very familiar name to all of us in Sonoma County. We love the family, and we are so proud that they won this year's competition. San Giacomo, best of the best. A relative newcomer for making their own wine, but a well-known...
by two votes with 20... Yeah, that's right. Well, we better have our own. Anyway, I just want to, I know you want to finish up, I just want to say thank you to all of the wineries, all of the winemakers that enter your wines. Again, you're all going to get good news, 96% medals, 33 or 31%, I've got to have a look for sure, gold medals, so fantastic, and just congratulations on the wines that you make. It's a real delight for all of the judges.
And Daryl, thank you.
It's fun.
You envisioned this 8 years ago. We've had fun ever since. It's one of the best wine competitions in the country, very well respected, and that's thanks to you and your reputation. Just like to thank again our sponsors, North Coast Tile and Stone, Sonoma Wine Growers, and Redwood Credit Union. We couldn't do it without you. So drink up, and remember, we're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time. Thanks, everyone.
And Steve, one reminder: when will the,
Oh,
when will the
I
results
almost-
be in the
I
press?
almost forgot.
The fantastic Press Democrat.
The
When will we
full
see it?
results will be in next Wednesday's Press Democrat in the Wednesday feast section or food and wine section next Wednesday. Look for it there. Thanks very much.
All right. Thank you.